Welcome to Survivor NSFW, Jonny Fairplay. We have a very special guest tonight, one that doesn't really do a whole lot of things in the podcasting world per se. Therefore, I'm excited because this is a rare appearance. Without further ado, Jonny, give him the introduction.
We have Brian Heidik, the Iceman. I think that you are definitely the Iceman in that hell has frozen over and you're doing a podcast.
You guys have been long time no talk to, Jonny. Great seeing you again. You look great.
Thank you.
I met a new guy as well too. I love it. So thank you guys for having me on. Much appreciated.
Yes. Matt Bischoff is equally as excited as I am. The last time I saw you, Brian, I believe, was in Las Vegas. We were invited to a private Eminem concert.
Yes, that's correct. It was Vegas. Your good memory. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Where did we see each other last? Yeah. And then we had to do a couple appearances, and then that's the last time, a couple years back, you and I saw each other.
Yeah,
actually I first met you too, I think.
That was a very weird deal. Like they contacted me and Burton in LA, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys like Eminem?" And we're like, "Yeah." And this was early in the Eminem days, and they're like, "Well, he's playing in a private ballroom in Vegas, and it's just CBS like corporate execs." And so, and I guess you got the call on the other end, and so we go, and like it's just a bunch of stiffs in suits, and like I would imagine I was probably wearing like a tracksuit or something. Burton, I would guess his standard khakis and Abercrombie shirt.
Yeah.
And you were wearing. I think you had done some astronaut training earlier in the day. You were wearing like what appeared to be a silver spacesuit.
Just was, you want to kind of morph into your surroundings. So obviously it matched in that time of day. What was it, 10 years ago, whatever it was. That was still kind of quote unquote hip.
It was super. I'm like, this motherfucker's down. Like, he is not shy. I mean, as I said, I think Eminem was like the entire time was just like, how much these motherfuckers paying me?
Yeah.
All right.
Was it good? That seems like it'd be pretty damn sweet.
It was incredible. I mean, because like me and Bert and Brian, we're just like yelling at Eminem, just like, yeah, mother, and then like everyone else is like, like 10 feet back, like, this is quite unique. He sure does throw around the F word, kind of loosey goosey.
Yes, he sure does. So he's doing okay for himself.
Yeah, things worked out for all of us, I think.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, for those of you that are just listening, you're missing out because if you were watching on Patreon, and that is available at patreon.com/Survivor NSFW, you would see behind Brian is, I'm guessing, your game-worn buff and the immunity necklace. Is that correct?
Yeah, had to have a little atmosphere while we're talking. But yeah, that's that, as those Survivor folk know, that's in essence how you can ultimately control your fate, is if you do happen to secure a immunity challenge, and then of course you get the immunity idol, necklace, bracelet, whatever is during that time. But this definitely helped my game. It was one of the last 3 times that I happened to win the last 3 challenges, so that helps.
Very important.
Move you forward in the game. I mean, it solidifies your move forward to the next round, basically. So you don't know if you're going to get it. I happen to win. It's one of those things where, oh shoot, okay, great, I just won this challenge. Excellent. I'll take the immunity necklace.
All right. So I'm guessing that post your season, they had the auction on eBay. Back then, I think all the proceeds went to the Elizabeth Glacier Pediatric AIDS Foundation.
Yeah.
And you were just the highest bidder, or did you procure that down the road?
Yeah, just highest bidder.
So you just won it on eBay? That was it?
You just want to always give back.
Okay. Wow. So,
so do you have any
curiosity, what do you got in it?
Huh?
Out of curiosity, what do you have in it?
Oh, it's worth a couple grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I would imagine it's worth more than that. You might have paid that. So, I mean, my torch. I don't know. I don't know what it sold for at the end of the auction, but I know it was purchased 2 years ago by a private collector for $15,000.
Yeah. No, I believe it. Yeah.
So I would imagine that I mean, because that necklace is very symbolic of your game. I mean, there's iconic images of you wearing that necklace.
Well, yeah, no, it's awesome. But the other thing too, I was hoping to grab a canteen that I used as well too. But along the finale, somebody heisted the can. I don't know if you experienced any of this, but there's some theft that goes along during the finales.
I didn't get my original tribe buff. Someone got that.
So you had something similar. So yes.
Yeah. So I got my Balboa buff, and I sold that to the collector that has my torch. So
okay.
that was a good. I thought I would be buried with those things, and if things work out with the collector dying before me, maybe that can still happen. I run 3 to 10 miles a day, and the private collector that has my stuff does not. So I'm just kind of weighing the odds. I think it's all gonna. I do need to check his will, however.
I hear you.
So you won Survivor Thailand. Have you? I mean, is it something that you still watch on TV? Are you still a Survivor fan, or have you just moved on and don't really pay too much of attention? Like, how is it for you now?
Well, you're always going to be a fan, of course. It's a wonderful gold medal that you win, and of course it's a stepping stone. It's like life, but you move on. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing about it too. There's such a thing, it's called family and kids and a life basically. So yeah, it's a wonderful time in life. People to this day, they ask questions. It's amazing that when you meet and when they find out, there's all kinds of questions that are still asked, and you embrace it, and you have no problem talking about it and talk about certain experiences. And it's one of those things where it was great when it happened, but of course, obviously you move on, and there's other things in life that you're involved in. Travel baseball with my 11-year-old. I've got gymnastics dance with my 9-year-old. So it's a constant parenting that's taking place as well. So that's kind of that between work and parenting. But yeah, it's you move on. I did not. Well, this is one of the few seasons that I did not watch, which was last season. So I know there were some different twists that happened, and I know there's a little bit of an outrage with regards to Immunity Idol and somebody coming back and all these new rules and games, and it's allowing for more people to move forward that maybe shouldn't have moved forward. But who's there to say they shouldn't have moved forward? That's just part of the game, It's a game.
Right. Well, you didn't miss much. I mean, if there was a season to miss, it was that one. Unfortunately,
God bless America.
Johnny and I had to talk about it. We had to talk. But I mean, I love Survivor. I mean,
even the worst season is better than The Bachelorette.
Yes. Yeah. That is correct, man.
That's funny.
So obviously, you know that there's an all-winter season coming up. Were you contacted or have you ever been contacted since you played Survivor? Would you ever play again? And are you pissed that you're not on the all-winter season that they're out filming right now?
Well, back in the day when I originally won, I was involved in a couple other things in my life, and they actually offered to come back, and I said, well, if you want Brian to play, here's the ego coming out. Yeah. If you want Brian to play, you're going to have to pay. Yeah. And so I wanted $50,000 to come back through CBS to come back, and I'd never, once they asked, and then I said that's my deal, and I'd never heard anything back. So I occasionally ran into Mark Burnett out and about in some charity functions and he's a creative survivor, for those that don't know. Never ran into Jeff Probst anywhere. Yeah. But I did get a call from Mike Holloway and Chris.
Daltrey?
Yeah, Daltrey as well,
Yeah.
too. Good people. They were
Yeah.
like, man, I guess we're on the X list. I said, oh, I really wasn't following it, but I figured I already made my own bed years ago when I said, if you want Brian to play, you're going to have to pay.
Right.
And that's the only thing I can think of between that and myself and Jeff Probst going back and forth behind the scenes at camera. When the camera wasn't rolling, he would say things like, Brian, when I ask a question, I need you to answer it. I said, no, I'm not going to answer it how you want me to answer it. And then one thing led to another. Then it was F you and F you. So that did happen.
Oh, wow.
With him and I.
I didn't know that I got your script when I played for Islands.
So during your season, you're saying that.
Yes.
Wow.
So maybe he can't hold a grudge. Maybe he's still pissed off. Who knows?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. But it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, they haven't contacted me since I wanted a certain monetary amount, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't lose any sleep over it.
No.
You're not the only one to ask for that. Like, rumor and innuendo is Iron Man or Fireman Tom had asked for, I think, the same number. It was either 50 or even 100,000. And and whether he got that for Heroes Villains, who knows?
Yeah.
So you're in a unique character in that. Did you perceive yourself as the villain, or were you another one of those people? Because when I played Survivor Pro Islands, I went in there, I was just like, I want to be the biggest bad guy in the history of the show. I want to be the biggest bad guy in the history of reality TV. Like, that was my goal. And I know like Richard Hatch was just like, I'm not a bad guy, that's just the edit, or Jerry Manthe, she's just like, I might be a bitch, but I'm not the bad guy,
Right.
How did what was your visualization of your character?
Well, I was one of the few that was on the show that's, I was recruited, basically. I never actually sent my stuff in. So they were
Same here.
They were
I was
recruiting people in the car industry.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another. The producers were like, well, how would you like to be on the show? And I'm like, well, isn't that like one of those shows where there's a bunch of idiots acting like morons? Next thing I know, I'm one of the idiots acting like a moron on a plane ride to Thailand. So, but again, you have to find the humor in it. But so I really didn't quite. It was the 5th season, so I was a thespian too. I'd studied off Broadway. I'd done some other things.
You did a couple things.
I've done a few things in my life. Hey, look, we all have a past, all right, guys.
Yeah, no, hey, there's a lot of people other than Ron Jeremy that wish they had the body.
No, but it's like we all have a past, like anything else. But the interesting thing is, I never perceived it as a character. I only tried to get along, and then I had everybody around me telling, "Oh, well, this is how this is going to go. This is how this is going to go." So all these people that I was playing with knew the show. Where I was one of those guys like, "Oh, really? Okay." So I was very naive, but at the same time, I still did what you had to do. Around camp, I would always suggest, not delegate. I would always ask and not tell. It was a very subservient form of leadership that I don't think there was really a character. That was just kind of just me getting along with people, and it happened to work. We all happened to get along really well, which is kind of neat. So there was a certain chemistry out there, as you guys know. There is some sort of chemistry out there that either you're getting along or you're like, this sucks and I'm not going to last that long. So that's kind of my perception. There's really never a character. And then I enjoyed
where did the Iceman come from? Okay.
There's nothing wrong with throwing curveballs or doing a little bit of stuff behind the scene. That was kind of the turn on, like almost the art of the deal, the sell, the close. When you close a deal or you make a deal in any sort of transaction, that's what turns me on. So that kind of was neat. Go, oh, these people want to think this way, but let me tell you how it really is about them. So it perceived me as just being me. I love controlling emotions, manipulating minds, but have a good time doing it.
So do you think you had an advantage not knowing the game and not being a fan?
As I think about it, yes.
Because it's this interesting theory. Because you see all these fans that come in with these strategies and how they're going to play the game, and they know every in and out of it, and they're these super fans, right? But you have someone like you who comes in and you're
with
winging it.
much more adaptability.
Yeah,
right.
And you end up winning the game. You know what I mean?
That's called life. But being in the car biz and being in sales all my life, you get to know thousands of personalities, and then you just kind of morph towards that personality. And lack of food, lack of water, lack of sleep just affected me a little differently than it affected everybody else.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed you don't have a sweet beard right now, because I remember you had
you had the best beard. I mean, like, because Matt has a 4-foot beard, which
I had one over Christmas time. I shaved it off in January, so it comes back real quick.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's one of the, I'm like, dude, this dude has a good beard, man. Like,
I know Matt makes fun of my beard he goes, oh, Fairplay with your little patchy beard, it's so cute.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah. This is months. This is months of work right here. It's they used to draw mine on Survivor. They used to Sharpie.
Oh, that's so funny.
No. So not getting the call for season 40. Do you take that as a slap in the face, or are you like, your loss?
No, it is what it is. It's just one of those things that I don't really. You don't think about it. It doesn't. If it was there, awesome. Let's make it happen. But if I'm so blessed in my personal life that it's one of those things I just don't. It doesn't bother me. So I mean, good luck to those that are on there, and maybe they can come through with some prosperity, and I wish them all the best.
I think you're in the minority, Brian. I think because there's people I know for a fact, like Mike Holloway and probably Chris and different people that are, I completely agree with what you're saying. Here's the deal with me. Would I love to play Survivor again? Yes, because it's the adventure. It's such a cool, just life experience that it's like nothing else. However, I have an amazing life outside of Survivor. I'm married. I got 2 little boys. I sing in multiple bands. We do this podcast. I do all kinds of shit without Survivor. However, I do love Survivor. And I know that the majority of people, I would say, that we talk to would jump on the heartbeat and would be losing a little bit of sleep. Jonny, would you agree with that?
I'm already losing sleep. I'm pissed the fuck off. It should have been Legends. So, and I would love to compete against the Iceman. I mean, bring it. So,
but yeah, you don't really no hard feelings, and if Jeff can't, if Jeff has to hold a grudge over little stuff, it's sad.
Well, explain that to me, Brian. So him and you were arguing like off camera, like because you weren't
behind the scenes. He would want me to give up my game to, especially in the early stages, to how he thought I should answer a question, and it's like, I'm not going to do that. So, and it was like, well, it was a little bit FU and FU. So that kind of went on throughout the season, him and I talked to Mike Holloway then years later, and we met at a charity event. He was like, he just doesn't like me either. I told him a couple of things of how I felt behind the scenes. I'm like, so this is sort of a pattern. So anybody that's kind of crossed or said something that might have pissed him off, I guess maybe he still holds a grudge over it. So, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. So it's sad, but it's petty and it's very immature.
Oh yeah. So was this? Were these verbal little spats? Was this at Tribal Council?
It was at Tribal Council usually after some answers weren't answered accordingly, or between takes, or a couple of different ways.
Right. Jeff and I used to start each challenge. It wasn't even we couldn't even make it to Tribal Council. Like each challenge would start with "Come on in, guys," and I'd round that corner and I go, "Fuck you, Jeff," because "Fuck you, Fairplay." I mean, like it was just immediate, like just on challenges. Yes. And then by the time we got to Tribal Council, he's just like, I know this motherfucker's going to... I'm just like, you're right, here it comes.
But that's fascinating because he got pissed on my season a few times at Tribal where, Tribal Council is like 2 hours long or whatever it is. And he's like, asking someone a question and they're not giving him an answer, and he's like, you got to answer the question because this is a. But at the same time, it's like, if he's asking you some question that's gonna hurt your,
it's gonna blow up your game. I mean,
Right.
I just finally said, I'm just like, look, man, I'm giving you everything you need in confessionals. So like if you need me to finish this story in tribal council, that means that you did a shitty job of casting because they can hold up their end. I narrated your entire fucking show. I can't say the fucking next chapter in front of these dum-dums or I'm gone.
Yeah.
You know, I could be.
Exactly.
It's just like, Johnny, what are you thinking? I'm thinking they're all fucking idiots, and they're dumb as fuck for having me still here right now. and there's one dumb idiot on this side of me that's going home in about 15 fucking minutes.
Right.
And the person on the other side, they're doing the same thing in 3 fucking nights.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny.
No, that's not the answer I can give.
So yeah, basically,
I hear you.
But I can tell you who's going home.
Yeah.
Nostradamus Fairplay says, me, because I just said that.
So yeah, you might have not made a friend with Jeff Probst for your tactics of how you operated, but you know what? You fucking won the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. And it's one of those things you can never take it away. But you ask it, does it bother me? No. Again, I think it bothers some other people, but it really doesn't bother me. And
well, that's good. It shows that you're a bigger man than it's just like it's a game, and it was what it was. And God,
correct.
How many years later is it? I mean,
Correct.
why would I fucking care about that? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
If they had called, what would the answer have been?
Say that again, Johnny.
If they had called.
Yeah, I would have said sure. I'd give it a shot. You know, still in shape mentally, physically, turning the big 5-0.
Wow.
But I think I could still get out there and sling it with you guys also too.
Yeah, you're a big boy. You're not. I mean, like that's the thing. I mean, like there's like Hatch is a lot bigger than you would imagine. Brian Heidik is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger than you met. Tyson is a bit. So
yeah.
like there's a big. I mean, like, you know, people meet me. They're like, "Are you fucking kidding?" And I'm like, "I know, right?"
But it's not. But Johnny, as you know, it's not about that. It's about getting along.
Penis.
You know, that's all it's about, getting along
Penis
out
size.
there.
It's not penis size. Well, you know what? I'm gonna reevaluate the way I play the game next time because I thought it was all penis.
So you play. So it was really
Not about that.
It was season 5. That's when
Yeah.
Thailand was I mean, Survivor was very popular during that time. So like when you got back, I mean, did you realize how big the show was? Like when you got back, were you recognized everywhere? Were you traveling and doing all?
I mean, living in LA and then walking through an airport with a guitar and a full-on beard, you know, it's like, Kenny Loggins, can I have your autograph? I'm like, Kenny Loggins.
I'm Messina.
Am I that skinny? I'm like, geez, I didn't realize I was that skinny. But that's how I was like, okay, it's a big show. But I guess when I really realized how big of a show it was the first day of shooting when our 2 boats are pulling up, and then we're pulling up to this island. And I literally see about, 15, 20 cameras in different locations pulling up with a crew. That's when I was like, wow, this is a pretty big production.
Yeah.
With just the actual initial arrival of our 18 cast members.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, whoa.
It is fascinating. Like when we pulled up on the beach on my season, and we walk up to our tribe flag, and Probst is standing there, and then there's like a wall of people behind him with clipboards. I mean, there's 100 people or more. I mean, there's just people everywhere, and you're like, holy shit. And it made me like, wow, like it's pretty crazy how when you watch the show, you have no idea that there's all those people. And how they shoot everything and never catch a glimpse of anybody, even by accident, is pretty miraculous.
It is amazing. So that's when you realize that's actually when I realized how big it was. And of course, after the fact, I mean, as you guys know, a lot of people watch it and it's like, oh, you were on that show, or they thought they graduated with you in high school, or they went to college.
Oh yeah,
all that
I
stuff.
know you from somewhere.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yes,
Did
you guys
did
have all experienced that too.
did you ever get? I mean, because like I remember watching you, and yeah, we knew you were a car salesman, but we also knew that you had a theatrical past. Were you ever approached to do like a because I like while I was I'm just like this motherfucker would be a good soap opera dude.
Well, it's funny you asked that because after Survivor, I gave it I gave myself 2 years, pretty much of auditioning and going back to one of my old agents and doing that. But the minute actually it killed any sort of thespian sort of career at that time. I couldn't get a gig because it's that Survivor guy. Oh, he won that.
That's that reality guy.
The irony behind it is like I'd auditioned. I'd done a couple things because I have, I've taken off Broadway. I've done studied Stanislavski. I've studied the Meisner technique. I've studied the method technique. I've studied techniques off Broadway stuff, but I couldn't get a gig, so I couldn't even do it. Couldn't get a national commercial. I'd done a dozen national commercials prior. And I just said, you know what? I'd done pretty well in real estate transactions and a couple other things. I said, I'm just going to retire from that industry, move out of state. So I gave it a shot, and I said, it's just not happening. So move and make a new life. So that's kind of
wow. Right after our seasons, there was a season of The Amazing Race with these two twin brothers, BS and Greg. And BS, he was a commercial actor before The Amazing Race. I think they ended up, if they didn't win, they made it pretty far. But that kid, like, he's like, I still today see him in commercials. Like, I know, like, I talked to him at a bar one night, and he had done, like, I mean, you name it, he did a commercial for him. But I was just like, like. How good do you do in commercials? I mean, because as I said, I think he won The Amazing Race. I was just like, and he's like, dude, he goes, I did a commercial in Japan for Heineken with Jennifer Aniston. He goes, I made like $2 million.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, wow, yeah.
He
had the right agent.
He found the right agent, and I think it was like as I said, it was probably a couple. Like, so what year were you? 2001?
Yeah, 2018, 17, 2002.
2002.
Yeah.
And I'm 2003, and he was probably 2004 or 5. And I think kind of like Hollywood kind of loosened its rein, because it used to be it's just like, oh, you're reality. And put your hands up, and then it turns into, hey, you're pop culture,
right?
Because the door was open. I mean, I did 70 plus TV shows, and I wasn't limited to reality because they're just like, it's Jonny Fairplay. I mean, he's a pop icon.
Right.
So yeah. So I think.
Are you a pop icon now, Jonny?
I have a pop socket. So that's good.
Well, you're saying that dude got $2 million to be in a commercial. Well, I totally forgot about this, dude. But I don't think I've ever told you, Jonny. But I was in a national Airheads candy commercial that was all over Cartoon Network, right? And I made $200 and a box of Airheads. I basically got franked. Yeah.
I mean, same story. Did you get to make out with Jennifer Aniston?
No.
Oh.
So what are you, Brian? What are you doing now, Brian? Like, so you did your whole. You said you moved after you retired from that industry.
I'm in Hilton Head, South Carolina. I live in Paradise.
That's awesome.
The Hilton Head, South Carolina is paradise. Oh, and you might be joining us at Big Tom's July 4th.
Well, we usually take the boat. Tanya was asking about that the other day, and I was saying, well, usually we've got boating activities that we have scheduled for the 4th of July. So
okay,
it's so short notice as well too. But I've been in the dealership world with F&I products for years, going to different dealerships and helping F&I departments grow and have dealerships make money and travel around. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you resurface every few years. You were in Hearts of Reality 3 years ago?
Yeah. Always, it's nice to give back. And you weren't there though. I don't think either you guys.
My band. I was banned for about 10 years. and my ban was finally lifted 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so I brought my daughter Piper. She was 9 at the time.
Okay.
And then I went again last year. And then Matt's going for the first time this year with me. We're Survivor NSFW living down there at the Hearts of Reality. It should be
that's cool. Yeah,
really fun.
Going to. Holloway just told me he's going to be there too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So no, that'll be good. So, all right, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. So, but and we can chop this out if you like. But I would be remiss if I didn't ask, because it is something that's out there, and this could be a reason on the season 40 stuff. Walk us through what happened in your backyard about what? 7 years ago, 6 years ago now. What?
Yeah. Well, when you're, I had, the girl I was married to at the time is a publicity hound a little bit. I was wanting to she was a former Playboy bunny. Playboy.
Is this who I met? Is this who I met in Vegas?
Yeah.
She was action packed.
We were at the end of our relationship anyway, our marriage, and it was one of those things that I'd had some ducks that I'd given to my son for Easter, and they were mauled, and we weren't quite sure if it was from a coyote or whatever was around the area. Okay. So I was obviously on the lookout. I'm a big hunter, and I was looking out to see exactly what could have mauled them. Then one night, there was some stuff going on in the backyards. I had my other dogs barking. I took a shot at something that looked like a coyote and was not a coyote. That turned out to be a dog. So that's all that was. She made a big deal about it, made a phone call. Oh my gosh, the Survivor guy is shooting dogs in our backyard. One thing led to another. I was arrested, and then, bailed out, and that was it. And just because of who I was, got a little bad publicity.
Sure. That's insane, because that could happen to any of us, dude.
Yeah.
Because they paint this picture like that's the fucking bullshit, man, about being a celebrity or a reality star, which is so cheesy and stupid to even say, but that's what, being in that limelight and they get a hold of a story, that sucks. I'm glad to hear how it went down, because
what was the aftermath of like
it was just a little negative publicity, a little negative stuff, and I mean that's about it. It was just kind of one of those things that I had to squash it, and then had everything expunged, and moved on. But it was just sad that it had to happen that way, and how she had to create something that never needed to be created. So
she was doing it out of spite. She was doing it to get at you.
We were divorcing. If that tells you anything. So
she was seeking drama the night of the Eminem concert.
Oh yeah, so Jonny.
I mean, it was crazy because I had never met either one of you, and prior to going on Survivor, I'm sitting there. I had never seen. I was recruited, and I had never seen it, but I had purchased every VHS tape. So so I'm watching and learning. Giving a crash course. With weeks. Prior to going.
Right.
And I watch you, and I'm like, man, that's one way to fucking play. Just fucking cool and calculated. And being a wrestling fan, there was a wrestler named Dean Malenko, the Iceman. I'm just like, hey, here's another Iceman. I can, and then I meet you, and I'm just like, hey, this guy's cool. And then your wife, she's just like, we fight all the time. It's crazy. Save me. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on here? Yeah. What just happened? So, but it was an alcohol fueled evening. So
and like in life, and as I said before, you move on, and you have bad relationships, you have good relationships.
Oh, I've had plenty of bad ones.
Yeah.
So don't even give me.
So, you move on.
I'm newly single, Brian. You wouldn't believe it.
Huh?
I'm newly single.
Oh. Congratulations, or should I say I'm sorry?
No, I think it's congratulations.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Johnny's better off being single at the moment, or at least from the situation that he was in. So you're a hunter. You said, do you still hunt?
I try to get. I'm mostly a deer hunter. I mean, I try to get out when I'm up in the trees in October time, November time, whenever I can get out there.
Sure.
That's all. Now, do you travel a lot? Or do you just chill in paradise.
No, I definitely travel a little bit with my with my gig that I was doing. So in the dealership world, was running a territory actually.
Oh, right on. Cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to South Carolina, Matt?
Yeah, let me just tell you a funny thing. So my brother-in-law got married in Hilton Head, right?
Oh, there you go.
So when we got there late at night. I was tired as shit, and there's the roundabouts everywhere, and I hadn't driven really. And we were trying to find a place where we were at, dude, and I was so fucking pissed. I was like, fuck these roundabouts, man. I was like, where the fuck we going? And I finally got it, but that was my first reaction of Hilton Head was. But the other thing I noticed was how I thought it was pretty cool how there's no obnoxious signs everywhere and billboards. Like like even McDonald's, everything looked the same. It was just like
it's clean. So clean.
The strip malls didn't have like big, giant logos everywhere, and I think that's pretty rad.
That's planned. Nothing above 6 stories and all dark.
Yeah, right. No,
it's so beautiful.
It was killer.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been to Myrtle Beach. I've been, Hilton Head, and Myrtle Beach is to me a freaking redneck ass.
I hate it.
Like that.
It's not even like no one goes to the beach there. Like it's just like
I've been to Ocean
it's
City, Maryland.
Yeah.
Ocean City. I was a BMX rider, and I did a lot of like webcasting for like Mountain Dew did these BMX events called the Dew Tour. So they would fly me in, and I would host a live webcast. So, I went to Ocean City, Maryland, and Myrtle Beach. They kind of remind me of the same. Where Hilton Head, on the other hand, is just more elite. Yeah. Like just private, like there's not a lot of the white trash type, and I hate like stereotyping, but it is what it is. I liked Hilton Head better than I liked like a Myrtle Beach or an Ocean City, Maryland.
Yeah, that's why I call it home.
Yeah.
Well, when me and Matt get married one day, we'll probably end up there.
So do you plan on?
Matt's wife's gonna kick him out for doing podcasts every night. So
that's the thing, Brian.
Part of my master plan.
we a lot of times, Brian, we do these late because like I got a lot of stuff going on with my 2 boys. So I want to like hang out and do stuff with them. So then like we don't record till later, but then we're up editing till late at night then, and then I'm freaking exhausted. But it's fun, And for me, we just had Sari on last week. We had Tina Wesson on, kind of talking to her about her experience, not being on season 40.
Tina got the call and then got the no call.
Really?
So is that worse than not getting the call at all?
That's probably worse.
Yeah, I would think that. I mean, because
because
it really sucks when you get like gym memberships and all this shit and cut your hair and
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard. I don't,
Cut your hair. Like, that's one thing. I would never if someone said, Matt.
Well, some people used to have this, like, blonde fro that they thought, it's just like, hey, let's do, like, a 2019 version of that. But, I mean, that has nothing to do with me whatsoever because,
Wait. So you're trying to tell me Joe didn't inspire you to cut your beard?
No.
Joe doesn't inspire me to do anything. I am not pro Joe person.
Oh, he's a nice guy.
I bet he is.
So I want to ask you something, Brian. So Johnny Fairplay, we always talk about Queen Sandra Diaz-Twine. Johnny thinks that she is not the best Survivor player of all time, despite the fact she's won 2 times, right? She's going to be on season 39 with Boston Rob.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah. They've already filmed that. She's an advisor on 39, and then she's out there now on 40.
So what is your opinion of Sandra as a Survivor player? Good, bad?
Wait, John, hold on. Johnny, back up. She's an advisor on 39?
Yeah, her and Boston Rob, because these new players, they're not as good as we used to be back in the day, I guess. I don't know. I think they're doing just fine, to be honest with you. But when you win a reward, you get to go and talk to Boston Rob or Sandra, and they'll tell you what to do. If I were to win that reward, I would have a lot of fun with it. I would say, wow, this is so cool. Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah. Well, whatever they're doing behind the scenes, obviously that's what's allowing them to be on the next season. So I couldn't tell you, but that's interesting, huh?
Yeah, and what once again another conflict of it. Like once you do once you're as a paid on air consultant, don't haven't you seen a little bit of the magic that you shouldn't be allowed to see as a returning contestant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. But then again, it's all for camera and it's all what sells,
Yeah.
and you have to understand the business part about it. And if you look at the big picture, all that does make sense. It's just a matter of what characters they're putting in place and why, and who I guess Brown knows is the most.
Right.
I don't even know if they really brown nose. I mean, Rob's kind of an asshole, and Sandra I think is oblivious to the game. So
Exactly.
So yeah, no. I mean, like me on the other hand, just fucking lube that shit up. Let's go.
So back to the question.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of I don't want to say are you a fan?
Do you respect Sandra Diaz-Twine, and do you think she's one of the greatest winners?
No, she got lucky.
Yeah,
she got lucky twice.
Straight up, got lucky.
Right. Fair enough. I just was curious.
Who do you respect as a winner?
Oh, let's see. Obviously, those that I've met.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean Hatch. Got to respect that first game. Can't ever go wrong with that.
That's an easy one.
Ethan's good win.
Yeah.
Holloway, I think, was a good win also.
Very
too.
earned it.
Yeah, he deserved it. Doherty, good win. Most of the people that have won it, except for this past season was annoying.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? We did a peek behind the curtain with Suri last week, and the rumor and innuendo is when they got voted out to the edge of extinction, they would stay up all night strategizing as a group. And they're just like, okay, whoever goes back in, this is what you do. Okay, whoever it is, whoever re-entered was a vessel for all of them. So that person is just like, okay, you go, Kelly Wentworth's like, hey, go to Lorne and say, Kelly said, give you this idol. Okay, if you have to win, whoever wins this has to win immunity. If you win immunity, you give up immunity so that you can make fire. It wasn't like Chris was just like, I mean, even though he had to do all those things to win, in addition to that, it was a brain trust of everyone on the edge of extinction going, whoever goes back in, do all these things. And Chris did, and they're just like, okay, well, you have my vote because you did what we collectively agreed that you would do.
Yes.
So it's a little like I wish they had shown us a little bit of that, and then I don't think the people would have the problem that they do, or did watching the finale.
I mean, if you're not aware, Brian, basically a dude play. How many days did Chris play originally?
5 days.
He was in the game 5 days.
Yes.
Gets voted out. He's living on this island called the Edge of Extinction for the rest of the time. Does a challenge with all the other people that got voted out and are there, and gets back into the game and plays.
With 5 days left, or 4 days left.
4 days left, and then wins. And the other crazy thing is like the whole jury. The jury is comprised of people
of all these losers that have been voted
on
out
this other island.
3.
So he's able to become friends and stuff
but as
with
I said,
the jury.
They've collectively, strategized night after night going, hey, if one of us comes back in, here's what you do. And if you do that, we'll reward you with our votes. And he did. So it wasn't like he did it. Like it was, he was just the surrogate for them collectively.
He had the relations with the tribal. Yeah. In essence, that's why he won, because he had that one-on-one time with all of them.
All right. Well, so talking to the Iceman, if the Iceman is playing that game of Survivor, do you purposely get voted out to make those interactions, or are you just like, no?
Absolutely not.
You're just like, I'm playing the best game of Survivor possible. I made it to the end. Fuck you that you didn't.
Correct.
Like, you guys can reward yourselves if you want, but you were disrespecting the integrity of the game.
Right. You always got to go back to the basics, man. Play the game how it should be played. Move forward. Along the way.
I would not go there. I mean, knowing what we know now, I don't think they'll ever bring it back. But if they were to, even if you were to strategically vote yourself out I'm just like, screw you, man. No,
that's definitely not a way to play. I don't think you can play that way and actually wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, hey, I gave it my best. So that wouldn't be the way I'd do it, at least.
Yeah.
So I don't think you would either, guys.
No. As I said, I don't think we'll ever. I don't think that they figured out the flaw in the concept, and I think they have now, and I think they're gonna be like, okay, stay on the Extinction A.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So if you were to have gone out there for 40, who do you think you would have aligned with?
Let's see here. I would have tried to align with Rob if he wouldn't have been annoying. So I would have hung out with him, depending on how much of his ego would get in the way between us. And then I think Ethan could be a cool guy.
Yeah.
To hang out with.
He's a dirty player. He got a fantastic edit and a very dirty player.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
Yes. Let's see who else is out there.
From the newer seasons, you have Wendell and Nick.
Yeah,
Michelle
those
Fitzgerald.
are people that you still got to get to know out there, because obviously everybody's strategizing. It's a whole new way to play the game, and it's really, there's a certain energy, as you guys know, that you're getting along with people, and that's what you got to capitalize on, is that certain energy. So I could never pinpoint it, because as you know, when you say one thing or you try to align one way, you get a little hiccup or a roadblock comes the other way, and then you have to move along that way accordingly. So it's all up in the air. You never know till you're out there playing.
You would just bring the same adaptability that you brought to Thailand back.
Yeah, I'd probably make sure Sandra's out first, though.
I can't imagine anyone that would not say. I mean, like, if in the grand scheme of things, if you think Sandra or even a Boston Rob should have a long life in a winter season, I think there's a little bit of shame on you.
No, I hear you.
So
let's see how it goes. It should be some good TV.
Boston Rob could be a decent shield for I could see that part. And if you guys had a previous relationship as acquaintance. I mean, did you guys meet at Hearts of Reality, or have you guys just known each other over the years?
Just let's see, we did a couple things here and there, but again, like anything else, he's in his own world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've gotten decent Boston Rob a couple times, but more times than not, I've gotten that television character. I was just like, wow, all right, well, yeah. I turn mine off.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
but oh well.
Yeah.
So all right. Are you on the social media, or are you secretly on the social media?
I do Instagram.
Okay.
But my wife does all the Facebook stuff and all that. So.
Okay. So you are on there. You're out and about, but you.
Yeah.
He's posting pictures of him, dude, on a freaking boat like a damn gangster in Hilton Head. I love it. I love it.
As I said, like you're kind of like the white whale of podcasts. You don't do the. I mean, like, do you ever listen to podcasts, or you're just like, out of sight, out of mind?
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
That's why when Tanya called, I was like, Jonny Fairplay, I haven't talked to him in years. Absolutely.
That's so. Dude, I want to say thank you, because like, there's a lot of podcasts out there that interview Survivor players, and it's typically, the certain group of survivors that will typically get interviewed. So for us to have you is a gem to me, because you don't do a lot of this stuff, and you're just
we just like to we like a looser interview.
We like to shoot the shit and have fun, and we're not, I don't know.
No, you guys are cool, because I kind of didn't know what to expect. I was like, let me check it out.
Yeah.
But you guys are cool, though, so I really appreciate you all thinking of me, too, by the way.
Oh, right on. And I can't wait to hang out one day, man. Like, if Johnny puts in a good word, then I trust Johnny. So
we we want your name back out there. And once again, if you weren't chosen for or even freaking called, I mean, I consider it an insult that you weren't even called. Just kind of be like, hey, where are you at in life? What's going on? And and even if there was an issue with it with the other things, just like, hey, break this down, explain it to us. I mean, so for just no conversation whatsoever. I mean, and there's others like that. Fabio didn't get the call whatsoever, and it's just like, wow, really?
Yeah,
And,
well, it's like, well, it seems like Survivor's going pretty strong though, too, guys. It's one of those things that, with the ratings, and it's not going to be slowing
top
down,
10,
so
top
there still
10.
might be that opportunity down the road.
It owns Wednesday night at 8:00. I mean,
Yes.
like it just dominates it. It's a top 10 weekly show in the ratings, and in cost of making it, it's probably the if it's not number one, it's in the top 3 cheapest shows and in the top 30 TV shows on network television.
Yeah,
it's crazy because look at our budget. Like the budget, they spend what, $20 million on the show, and then what, $1.5 million on talent.
Yes.
I mean, go back. Like my first season of Survivor, we were the number 1 show in the world. I mean, we were going head to head against the final season of Friends, beating them every single week. And what was their budget? $10 million per star per episode.
It's crazy.
And then there's us, $95,000. What's up? All season long.
That's funny.
13 episodes. You can break that shit down however you want. So it's.
When is this new show supposed to start? Do you know again? You know the actual dates?
September will be the one with Rob, and
September, okay.
And then February will be what do they call it? Clash of the Champions or something? What's the winter season?
I think so, something like that.
Something obnoxious that will make me hate it even more. But that's the beauty of this podcast. I just rant and rave and Matt talks me off the ledge. It's a very, very simple concept.
How'd you two guys meet, by the way?
Last year at a charity event, he was in town for this Reality for Diabetes thing.
Yeah,
and,
Matt showed up with a $100 bill. Says, "I'm not leaving till this is gone."
But Jonny and Lex and Big Tom stayed at my house and hung out. And then I was listening to Jonny's podcast, and then one thing led to another, and his old co-host bailed, and I jumped right in, and here we are, man. So it's been really fun, and man, it's been super cool to meet you over Skype, dude. I wish you the best of luck in everything you do, and hopefully we can hang out one day, man. And thank you for coming on our show.
No, appreciate you guys. Pleasure meeting you, Jonny. Thank you. Let's stay in touch, gentlemen.
Right I will. Hilton Head's not that far. I will just randomly show up. It'll be okay.
Anytime. We got plenty of space.
Right on, dude.
He's lying. That's the Iceman right there.
Plenty of space.
Yep. Right on, dude. Well, thank you very much. And we will see you guys next time on Survivor NSFW. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.